From Royal Communications Incorporated, good morning and welcome to King's Newsroom, the 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Thursday, May 29th, 2025, and I'm Newton Tugba presenting. Stories following this morning. Liberia's only dialysis center at John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital stands in rain and possible collapse due to damaged equipment as patients accuse the management of collecting money without administering treatments. Vice President Jeremiah Cohn says government is committed to protecting all opposition politicians and uphold free speech, assures Bome County Senator Edwin Snow and his family of a guaranteed security. Minister of Health announces discharge of 4 MPOS patients following intensive treatment at National Infectious Disease Center in Monrovia. Away from Liberia, Elon Musk has criticized one of the signature policies of Donald Trump, making a break from the U.S. president who he helped to win re-election in 2024. Thousands of Palestinians have overrun an aid distribution site in Gaza set up by the controversial U.S. and Israeli-backed group a day after it began working there. These, plus many more, our news bulletin and our international developments are all packaged. We'll take a very short break. We'll be right back. Thanks for rejoining us and welcome back. Let's now have the news bulletin. The Liberian Senate Post and Telecommunications Committee has commenced an investigation public hearing into allegations and regulatory concerns regarding Lone Star Cell MTN mobile money. The allegation stems from President Joseph Boakar's recent claims of the government being denied its share of 20%. According to the committee, the hearing, which took place Wednesday, seeks to hear testimonies from affected Liberian shareholders, receive official reports and updates from relevant regulatory institutions engaged Lone Star Cell MTN on its compliance, governance practices, and response to these allegations. Furthermore, the committee said first the hearing will gather perspectives from legal and civil society organizations, as well as identify any legislative or regulatory gaps that may have required Senate intervention. According to a Senate release, expected participants include representatives of the Liberian shareholders, Lone Star Cell MTN Mobile Money, Central Bank of Liberia, Liberia Telecommunication Authority, as well as Financial Intelligence Agency, Ministry of Justice, Liberia Business Association, and the Liberian Chamber of Commerce. Liberia's once much celebrated dialysis center at the John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital is at a stage of total abandonment due to lack of support and maintenance of equipment, leaving patients at a dying point. The management of the dialysis unit, once advertised as a breakthrough for Liberia's healthcare system, is facing serious allegations of poor maintenance and lack of accountability, as several patients have claimed paying for treatment without receiving it. The dialysis unit, constructed under the administration of former President George Weah, is far from saving lives due to shortages of equipment, medication, and functioning dialysis machines. Bill Mensah, 35, and Surprise Cooper, 27, both of whom are suffering from kidney damage, told Kings FM that after paying several United States dollars for their treatment, they are yet to be treated due to what the management calls no materials for treatment, adding that they have been compelling them to return home without their monies being refunded. Following an independent investigation conducted, King's Event can confirm the damage of the equipment at the dialysis unit at the John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital. However, despite efforts made to speak with the center's management, they are yet to respond, as every contacted person declined to comment on the allegation. Following Bome County Senator Edwin Snow's expressed fear for his life, Vice President Jeremiah Cohn has assured the government's protection. DP Cohn, in In his words of assurance posted on his official Facebook page, Wednesday noted under the Bakakone administration, all opposition politicians will be fully protected and allowed to speak freely. He added, although the government is prepared to uphold free speech, everybody is expected to speak in the confines of the law and protect the peace. According to the vice president, President Bouakai has asked him to inform Senator Edwin Snow and his security, or that his security is guaranteed, including his family. During a press conference Tuesday, the head of Liberia's delegation to ECOWAS Parliament accused the government of state-induced threat on his life and the life or that of the life of his family. Prior to Snow's allegation, the Ministry of Information, in a publication made on Saturday, May 24th, said the Bomi County Senator was planning to use his connections at ECOWAS Parliament to undermine and destabilize the government to, to, inhi- thus, to enable himself become president. The Ministry of Information publication has since raised serious concern, resulting to Snow informing members of the House of Senate to summon the Information Minister Jeremy McPeer to provide evidence to claims made in the publication, something yet to be done. The Ministry of Health has announced the discharge of full mpox patients who are fully recovered following treatment at the National Infectious Disease Center in Monrovia. The patients, according to a statement issued by the Ministry of Health Wednesday, they were released after completing all prescribed treatment and isolation protocols. According to MOE statement, all the patients signify a hopeful development in Liberia's efforts to control the spread of mpox virus, particularly in urban centers of Montserrat County. In furtherance, Ministry of Health has disclosed that it has activated facility-based case management at the National Infectious Disease Center to address the rise in mpox cases. The ministry added that the facility case will also provide integrated medical, psychosocial, and nutritional support for mpox patients. The Ministry of National Defense, through the Department of Gender and Social Inclusion in collaboration with the Health Services Department, on Wednesday celebrated World Menstrual Hygiene Day with students of the Grade D Allison High School in Central Monrovia. This year's Menstrual Hygiene Day has been observed under the theme Together for a Period, Frank the Word. The celebration provided a safe and engaging space for students to share their diverse experiences relative to menstruation, personal safety, and hygiene. Delivering the keynote address, Sandra Rabos Gadi, Director of Health, emphasized the importance of maintaining safe hygiene practices, accessing quality menstrual products, and collectively breaking the stigma around menstruation. She encouraged female students to prioritize their health during their period and called on male students to offer empathy and support to their female peers. Speaking at the event, the Director General and Social Inclusion expressed gratitude to the administration of Grady Allison High School for their collaboration. She highlighted the significance of menstruation awareness, educating youth, and celebrating such day will foster openness, respect, and empowerment among young people. World Menstrual Hygiene Day is celebrated every year on May 28th to raise global awareness and promote action around the challenges many women and girls face in managing their menstruation with dignity. The Secretary General of the National Patriotic Party, Andrew Peters, has officially distanced the party from recent statement made by the party national chairman Josh Moba and Burton Dennis in support of Senator Edwin Melvin Snow. Speaking Wednesday, Peters emphasized that the views expressed by Moba and Dennis do not represent the official position of the NPP on the ongoing debate between Senator Snow and the government of Liberia. He called on both officials to publicly retract their statements, particularly those suggesting financial influence in support of Senator Snow. Peters clarified that the party has never convened to deliberate on any matter involving Senator Snow and the Liberian government. He further urged party members to avoid being influenced by the despite the personal opinions of individual officials, but to remain united and committed to the core mission and values of the NPP. Bomi County Senator and Chairman of the Western Region Legislative Caucus, Alice Tyler, has filed a formal communication before the plenary of the Liberia Senate against Western Cluster Liberia Limited. Senator Tyler, in his communication, accused Western Cluster Liberia Limited of grossly violating the Mineral Development Agreement signed between the company and the government of Liberia. According to him, the company has engaged in activities that do not only undermine the terms of the agreement, but also disregard the welfare of citizens that's residing in the affected counties, including Bomi, Grand Cape Mount, and Gbapolu counties. The chairman of the Western Region Legislative Caucus argued that Western Cluster is operating contrary to its contractual obligations, adding that the company has failed to make social development and community payments allegedly owed residents of its operational areas despite numerous engagements. Meanwhile, following Senator Tyler's communication, the Senate plenary urged its relevant committee to conduct a comprehensive investigation into the operations of Western Cluster Liberia and make available recommendations within 2 weeks. The Liberian Council of Churches has been urged to wake up from its slumber and begin speaking on issues of national concern, as it was done by its founding fathers. The Bishop of the Lutheran Church in Liberia, Reverend Dr. Victor Patmo, said in recent times, members of the LCC has been very silent on many ills preventing or prevailing in the Liberian society. Bishop Patmore made the assertion where he delivered the sermon on the theme Wake Up and Walk Wisely at a program marking the opening of the 35th General Assembly of the Liberal Council of Churches taking place in Pinsville, outside Monrovia on Wednesday. Remarking during the opening ceremony, LCC Secretary General Reverend Dr. Christopher Toh encouraged members of the council to get on board rather than remain outside in dealing with issues about the council. According to Reverend Tour, the Liberian Council of Churches is a moral authority to which the religious leaders and Liberians in general relied on in solving the social, economic, and political issues in Liberia. The Assembly of the LCC, under the theme Reconciliation, acknowledging the past, accepting the present, and adjusting for the future with a true healing, continues on Thursday with Reverend Dr. Fidon Wumbiki, the General Secretary of All Africa Conference of Churches based in Nairobi, Kenya, will deliver the keynote speech, and the LCC President, Reverend Dr. Samuel Rees, is expected to deliver his message to the delegates. Delegates are expected to go to the polls for the election of new corps or officers to govern the affairs of the council for the next term. Suspect Peach Belity, son of Nima County District 7 Representative Musa Belity, requests to avoid criminal protection or thus persecution, and criminal court remains uncertain. This follows the end of Judge Joe Bacon's 24-hour ultimatum, and both defense and state lawyers are yet to reach an agreement regarding suspect Peach Belity's application of no litigation at Criminal Court C. Judge Joe Bacon, according to our judicial correspondent, is reportedly frustrated by the defense and state lawyers' failure to reach a no litigation settlement since May 19, 2025. Our judicial correspondent further said defense and state lawyers' failure to compel Judge Joe Bacon to instruct his clerk to assign the matter for June 2, 2025 if they refuse to reach a plea bargaining agreement on or before June 2, 2025. Suspectability's legal team is seeking for a plea bargaining agreement with the state to avoid persecution after state lawyers confronted him with his pieces of evidence. Prosecuting lawyers' evidence appear to be convincing for conviction. As such, suspectability's legal team is pursuing a non-trial with the intent to avoid the maximum jail term of 20 years consistent with the new drug law. Peach Belity was arrested by the LDA officers at the Miami Beach in March 2024 with 21.4 grams of kush and 500 grams of marijuana, along with a gun. He has since been indicted by the government of Liberia and is currently on bail, though his offenses under the drug law are non-bailable. Prosecuting lawyers have admitted to Councillor Johnny Momo's claims that his ex-lover Marie Nolan's indictment contained the same averments of previous action at the Broadview Magisterial Court, which were dismissed by the court with prejudice to the state. Madam Nalon's lawyer, Councillor Wilkins, writes to the court that though the averments are the same, but the charges are different. Councillor Wright argued that his client's previous action was dismissed with prejudice to the state, which border on domestic violence and disorderly conduct, while the indictment charges range from theft of property, burglary, and criminal conspiracy, adding that such application cannot quash his client's indictment. But Councillor Johnny Momo has rejected Councillor Wright's claims, saying that Madam Nolan entered a that's null prosequat on March 9, 2024, before the Broadview Magisterial Court with a legal provision to the court now to return consistent with Chapter 18, Section 18.1 of the Criminal Procedure Law of Liberia. Councillor Momo maintained that her account to the court means she cannot suffice with the same averments for another litigation. He noted that to appear with the same story is a fit subject to quash her criminal indictment as provided by law. Our judicial correspondent said following both lawyers' claims and counterclaims, Judge Joe Bacon has reserved the ruling into the matter pending notice of assignment. The president of the West African Postgraduate College of Nurses and Midwives has appealed to governments in the West African region to assist the institution with the construction of headquarters in Abuja, Nigeria. The college president, Dr. Silat Gaba, disclosed that the college has purchased a portion of land in Abuja and needs the assistance since international funding has reduced drastically. Dr. Gaba made the appeal when he delivered his message at the second day of the 18th biannual general meeting on the West African Postgraduate College of Nurses and Midwives taking place in Congo Town, east of Monrovia on Wednesday. Delivering the keynote speech at the program, the Liberian public health expert, Mr. Wosi Gobert Weah, advanced a number of recommendations in at improving nursing and midwife services in the West African region. Madam Gobert Weah recommended that nurses and midwives should engage governments for more funding and be scientific in their undertakings. On Tuesday, Liberia officially announced the closure of its campaign for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council for 2026-2027 term. Speaking during the ceremony, the Senate Chair on Foreign Affairs, Senator Abraham Darius Dillon, described the movement as a call for national unity. He emphasized that the election of Liberia on the UN Security Council will further strengthen the country's fight for advocacy for peace and democratic principles. At the same time, Grand Bassa County Senator Benson Afili has appealed to Burundi to support Liberia's candidacy for non-permanent seats on the United Nations Security Council. During the meeting held on Tuesday with Burundi's president, Senator Finley emphasized Liberia's willingness to initiate and expand diplomatic engagement with the Republic of Burundi, and also highlighted potential areas for bilateral cooperation in the economic, technical, and trade sectors, and extended an invitation for Burundian investment in Liberia. Sanniquellie City Magisterial Court has remanded a 45-year-old man identified as Augustine Gay to the Sanniquellie Central Prison for the alleged murder of a Burkinabe national, Badu Abula. The indictment reportedly occurred on May 14, 2025 in Dawobli Forest, located in the Kpabli district of Lower Nimba County. According to eyewitness accounts, Abuli was preparing food for his fellow laborers when he was allegedly shot and killed by Gay, who is accused of using a single barrel firearm. Residents of Oyapie claim that Gay had gone hunting with a firearm on the day of the incident but returned without it. Although Gay has since denied the involvement and stated he no longer possessed a gun, police investigation uncovered inconsistencies in his account. Authorities also noted that there were prior tensions between Gay and a group of Burkinabe workers. That's the shift of the news bulletin. We take a break to be back with voices of the news makers. Well, if you're just joining us, a reminder you're listening to King's News Burner 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Stories we're following this morning. Liberia's only dialysis center at John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital stands in ruin and a possible collapse due to damaged equipment as patients accuses management of collecting money without administering treatments. Vice President Jeremiah says government is committed to protecting all opposition politicians and uphold free speech, assures Bombay County Senator Eddie Snow and his family of a guaranteed security. Minister of Health announces discharge of 4 MPOS patients following intensive treatment at National Infectious Disease Center in Monrovia. Away from Liberia, Elon Musk has criticized one of the signature policies of Donald Trump, marking a break from the U.S. president who he helped to win re-election in 2024. Thousands of Palestinians have overrun an aid distribution site in Gaza, set up by the controversial U.S. and Israeli-backed group a day after it began working there. We'll take another break to be back with voices of the newsmakers. And now, on our first development here this morning, Liberia's once celebrated dialysis center at John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital is at a stage of total abandonment due to lack of support and maintenance of equipment, leaving patients at a dying point at the facility. The management of GFK of the dialysis unit once advertised as a breakthrough for Liberia's healthcare system is facing serious allegations of poor maintenance and lack of accountability, as several patients have claimed paying for treatment without receiving aid. The dialysis unit constructed under the administration of former President George Weah is far from saving lives due to such the shortages of equipment, medication, and functioning dialysis machines. Bill Mensah, 35, and Surprise Cooper, 27, both of whom are suffering kidney damage, told Kings FM that after paying several United States dollars for their treatment, they are yet to be treated due to what management calls no materials for treatment, adding that they are being compelling them to return home without their monies being refunded.
Mason, one of the dialysis patients from GFK Hospital. I've been taking treatment at the dialysis center for over 5 months. The fees we are paying is very costly. It's not easy. We are struggling. $95 per session. It's more we are spending 3 times a week for me. I can go for the treatment 3 times in a week. So paying the 95 times 3, and then the 2 injection we are taking is about $25 for 2. So the 25 times 3 days is about 75 plus the 200 plus, so I paid $360 every week for the treatment. It's not easy. We can love it. We can beg people to help. And then after paying this money, the nurses will come and tell us there's no material. And they report from the CEO office that there's no material, we should go home. After paying the money, take the receipt from us and tell us to go home. There's no material. It's not the first time, it's not second time. And for every time the place run out of material, we can break down. And when we break down to recover, it's not easy. This how small friends are losing their life. We are struggling. So we came to the media to please help and call the government attention to intervene. We are dying. We are struggling. We are young people that have families to cater to. It's not easy. So the government had to please come in, bend to the CEO of a serious son. The CEO is one that her name, Dr. Lina A. Brecht from GFK. Yes, we bend to her office several times, but nothing, no change. There's no change. For every time we go, sometimes she will hire herself from us. We'll not see her. Sometimes she will only come and talk to her for a minute and go about her business. So we are struggling. We are suffering. The money is not easy, but we can still try hard and ask people for help. Pay it. The SARS are placed in GFK, nowhere else. 35 years old.
We take treatment at GFK hospital. So we came online to ask the government to please come to our help. Because we're really dying to GFK. Pay $95 every 3 days in a week. When we pay this money, they send one who only receive. They'll tell no material and not first and second and 10. And we're dying. So I don't have money, but we can come online, we beg people for help. And we get the money to go for the treatment and it will leave it back. And they'll tell us no material. And the machine we're using, half of it and break down. So we're begging the government, the representative, they come to our help. We dying, two our patients are just if I tell you 1 week now, we'll take treatment. You see I'm getting swollen, you see my stomach. We don't sleep in the night. We sit in chair on the table. Take treatment at GFK hospital. So we came online to ask the government to please come to our help. Because we're really dying to GFK. Pay $95 every 3 days in a week. When we pay this money, they send one who only receive. They'll tell no material and not first and second and 10. And we're dying. So I don't have money, but we can come online, we beg people for help. And we get the money to go for the treatment and it will leave it back. And they'll tell us no material. And the machine we're using, half of it and break down. So we're begging the government, the representative, they come to our help. We dying, two our patients are just if I tell you 1 week now, we'll take treatment. You see I'm getting swollen, you see my
Surprise Cooper and Bill Mensa. They're expressing dissatisfaction about the dialysis center at the John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital. The Secretary General of the National Patriotic Party, Andrew Peters, has officially distanced the party from recent statements made by the party national chairman Josh Mobar and Burton Dennis in support of Senator Edwin Melvin Snow. Speaking Wednesday, Peters emphasized that the views expressed by Mobar and Dennis do not represent the official position of the MPP on the ongoing debate between Senator Snow and the government of Liberia. He called on both officials to publicly retract their statements, particularly those suggesting financial influence in support of Senator Snow.
The National Patriotic Party was shocked with a statement issued by Mr. Burton Dennis under the authority of Anthony George Mobar, chairman of the National Patriotic Party. That statement is believed to be in the public as an official position of the National Patriotic Party. Let me say this to our partisans across the border of this country and within the border of this country. At no time the National Patriotic Party have ever met either in a room or outside of the perimeter of the party compound to discuss issues surrounding Senator Snow and the government of the Republic of Liberia. We want to say this clear that statement issue and in the public by Mr. Mobar and Mr. Burton Dennis is completely a diabolical lie and is not a direct representation of the National Patriotic Party. We, as official and members of the National Patriotic Party, say in in this public manner, we disassociate ourselves from that statement and we call on Patterson Mopa and Boto Dene to withdraw their financial influence statement in support of Burmese Senator Mervyn Snow. We also want to request Patterson Moba to ask Senator Snow to write an open complaint on what he termed as government action against him. And once that is done, members of the National Executive Committee will meet in a section, discuss such communication extensively, and make a determination to the public. We want to encourage our partisans not to be deterred of that diabolical lies and financial influence statement issued by Chairman Moba and Boton Dennis. As partisans of the National Patriotic Party, the NPP remains supportive of the government action. We will work with the government, make a constructive criticism where necessary, make our recommendation where necessary, and to see this country going ahead. Any of our party who in their rightful mind will take the airway and misuse words against the government of the Republic of Liberia, let them speak and defend themselves. They will not use the NPP as a stepping stone to issue statements that's counterproductive to the well-being of the citizen and the Republic of Liberia. At this junction, we want to say clearly that the NPP will be a constructive opposition and not a destructive opposition.
Is the Secretary General of the National Patriotic Party of Liberia, Andrew Peters. They're speaking. What if you just joining us? A reminder you're listening to King's Newsroom with time half past the hour. Stories we're following this morning. Liberia's only dialysis center at John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital stands a rain and a possible collapse due to damaged equipment, and as patients accuse the management of collecting money without administering treatments. Vice President Jeremiah Combs says government is committed to protecting all opposition politicians and uphold free speech, assures Bomi County Senator Edwin Snow and his family of a guaranteed security. Ministry of Health announces discharge of 4 NPOS patients following intensive treatment at National Infectious Disease Center in Monrovia. Away from Liberia, Elon Musk has criticized one of the signature policies of Donald Trump, marking a break from the U.S. president who he helped to win re-election in 2024. Thousands of Palestinians have overrun an aid distribution in Gaza, set up by a controversial U.S. and Israeli-backed group a day after it began working here. These are stories we follow here. We'll take another break. When we'll come back, we continue with more developments. The Liberian Council of Churches has been urged to wake up from its slumber and begin speaking on issues of national concern, as it was done by its founding fathers. The Bishop of the Lutheran Church in Liberia, Reverend Dr. Victor Patmo, said in a recently, members of the LCC has been very silent on many ills prevailing in the Liberian society. Bishop Patmo made the assertion when he delivered the sermon on the theme "Wake Up and Walk Wisely" at the program marking the opening of the 35th General Assembly of the Liberian Council of Churches, taking place in Pinsville, outside Monrovia, Wednesday.
LCC, you should be awake. Awake to address the ills of society. Awake to tell whoever it is the truth that will bring glory and bring peace to God's people. When you very well say false things, you are sick. Look at what we go through. Then there's where call is for us. We are being pushed around by kingdom influence. We are being pushed around by our own desires. We have been downtrodden by life situations that is not true, and so much further. People want to live life and satisfy themselves and not satisfy God. Wake up from the spiritual sleep. Some of us, most of us, our eyes are open, but we are sleeping. We'll be trained to look at the wrong to be right first. We are trying to support and make people feel good about themselves, and that will guide the fact that God is not satisfied with our actions. We need to wake up from that wake up sleep. It refers to competence, moral dullness, indifference to things of God. We know the truth. We know what's wrong. We know that we are doing injustice to people. We know that we are not treating people as we ought to treat them. Yet they still don't even think there's something wrong when we fight among ourselves for things that will not bring glory to God. Yes.
Also remarking at the ceremony, the LCC Secretary General Reverend Dr. Christopher Toole encouraged members of the council to get on board rather than remain outside in dealing with issues about the council. According to Reverend Toole, the Liberal Council of Churches is the moral authority through which the religious leaders and Liberians in general relied on in solving the socio, economic, and political issues in Liberia. The Assembly of the LCC honored the theme reconciliation, acknowledging the past, accepting the present, and adjusting for the future with the true healing, continues on Thursday with Reverend Dr. Fidon Wumbiki, General Secretary of All Africa Conference of Churches based in Nairobi, Kenya.
We are it's going to go deep and go far around the world. All of ourselves by the wayside. The freedom of our country is not the glory. We have choices to make on whether our being is great organization, whereas our identity. We either stay up and be counted, or lie down and be counted out. We have chosen the first option, and our mission of success is giving us a new life. But our short for improvement is to accelerate growth, development, and the same LCC is a complex endeavor and a continuous process. Our struggle will not end. Rather, it is obedient. We must continue to excel as the best and show growth in the country. Drawing the inspiration of our waiting, we can end. But by putting our hearts into what we do and leveraging all our strength, we can amplify our thinking.
The Liberal Council of Churches Secretary General, Reverend Dr. Christopher Toole. Earlier, you heard the voice of the Bishop of the Lutheran Church in Liberia, Reverend Dr. Victor Patmo. The president of West African Postgraduate College of Nurses and Midwives has appealed to governments in the West African region to assist the institution in the construction of headquarters in Abuja, Nigeria. The college president, Dr. Sile Gaba, disclosed that the college has purchased a portion of land in Abuja and needs the assistance since international funding has reduced drastically. Dr. Gaba made the appeal when he delivered his message at the second day of the 18th Bar Annual General Meeting of West African Postgraduate College of Nurses and Midwives taking place in Congo Town, east of Monrovia.
Fellows of the college will discuss ways of sustaining the provision of quality healthcare services, including those funded by the partners who are gradually withdrawing from the region. We shall continue to provide quality healthcare services to the teeming population of the region in the best way we can, despite increasing challenges that include increased migration of nurses and midwives from the region to other parts of the world, inadequate funding of healthcare, poor remuneration, as well as lack of equipment in the clinical areas. Despite making huge contributions in the training of key health workers, the college is faced with numerous challenges, including lack of recognition of the college certificate for appointment, placement, and remuneration in many member countries. lack of permanent college building in Abuja, as well as poor finances for healthcare.
He's the president of the West African Postgraduate College of Nurses and Midwives, Sile Gaba. They're speaking. On Tuesday, Liberian officially announced the closure of its campaign for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council for 2026-2027 term. Speaking during the ceremony, the Senate Chair on Foreign Affairs, Senator Ibrahim Daras Dillon, described the movement as a call for national unity. He emphasized that the election of Liberia on the UN Security Council will further strengthen the country's fight for the advocacy of peace and democratic principles.
With profound gratitude that we are here as a government to express to you our appreciation for your support of Liberia as a member of the Security Council. Liberia being a founding member of the Security Council, a record or history we cherish. Liberia is also a beneficiary of the decision and actions of the United Nations and the Security Council that help to restore peace and stability to our country. And it is with this background and it is with this mindset and determination that we are seeking to occupy a seat and be elected so that Liberia, using our history and our experience to fight for global peace, stability, and justice around the world, will ensure that we have a peaceful world where human beings, our fellow human beings, without discrimination, can live in peace, enjoy the peace of this world, enjoy opportunities, equal opportunities without discrimination.
At the same time, the Grand Bassa County Senator Bensoga Finley has appealed to Burundi to support Liberia's candidacy for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. During a meeting held on Tuesday with Burundi's president, Senator Finley emphasized Liberia's willingness to initiate and expand diplomatic engagement with the Republic of Burundi. It also highlighted potential areas for bilateral cooperation in the economic, technical, and trade sectors and extended an invitation for Burundian investment in Liberia.
Milton Finlay, a former foreign minister of Liberia, was sent by directive of the president of the Republic of Liberia with a special message to his brother. And in that message, Liberia is seeking its seat for the non-permanent position of the Security Council, the United Nations Security Council. And so we are seeking the support of the Republic of Burundi. And that is the message that we brought to request for the kind support of the people of Burundi, Liberia on the Security Council seat. Well, the president have consented to give his brother the support and the people of Liberia the support. You know, we and Liberia and Burundi share a common history of civil crisis, and it will be good for us to serve on that council. So we come with our experience, we come with the issues of civil division in our country, and both countries have made tremendous progress in terms of unity, reconciliation. So it will be good for Liberia to be there, and hopefully in the future we look for Liberia to support Burundi in the future for the Security Council.
He's Grand Bassa County Senator Bensoga Finley. Earlier, you heard the voice of Montserrat County Senator and Chair on Foreign Affairs, Abraham Daros Dillon. And away from Liberia, Elon Musk has criticized one of the signature policies of Donald Trump, making a break from the U.S. president who he helped to win re-election in 2024. Last week, the U.S. House of Representatives narrowly passed what Trump calls his Big Beautiful Bill, which includes multi-trillion-dollar tax breaks and a pledge to increase defense spending. It will now head to the Senate. Tech titan Musk told the BBC US partner CBS News he was disappointed by the plan, which he felt undermines the work he did for the president on reducing spending. Musk was enlisted as Trump's cost-cutting T-star, ending funds for US foreign aid, among other projects, before announcing he would step back. Thousands of Palestinians have overrun an aid distribution site in Gaza set up by the controversial US and Israeli Ba'ath group a day after it began working there. Videos showed crowds walking over torn down fences and earth burns at Gaza Humanitarian Foundation's compound in the southern city of Rafah. The group said that at one point its team fell back because the numbers seeking aid were so great. The Israeli military said troops nearby fired warning shots. The GHF, which uses armed American security contractors, aims to bypass the UN as the main supplier of aid in Gaza, where experts have warned of a looming famine after an 11-week Israeli blockade that was recently eased. On that note, this I would like to go home on this edition of King's Newsroom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. But just before we go home this morning, let's remind you of stories we've been following. Liberia only dialysis center at John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital stands a rain and a possible collapse due to damaged equipment as patients accuse the management of collecting money without administering treatments. Vice President Jeremiah Kuhn says government is committed to protecting all opposition politicians and uphold free speech, as shows Bomi County Senator Edwin Snow and his family of a guaranteed security. Ministry of Health announces discharge of 4 MPOS patients following intensive treatment at National Infectious Disease Center in Monrovia. Away from Liberia, Elon Musk has criticized one of the signature policies of Donald Trump, making a break from the U.S. president who he helped to win re-election in 2024. Thousands of Palestinians have overrun an aid distribution site in Gaza, set up by the controversial U.S. and Israeli Ba'ath group a day after it began working there. This is a story we follow here on King's Newsroom. We'd like to say many thanks to all of our reporters, correspondents, news editors who helped in making this package. Our sources better still join us this afternoon at 1 o'clock, at which time we'll be here with another splendid edition of the program. My name is Newton Tucker. I presented this edition of the program. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye bye.